So, hello, welcome to week 11 of the C1 course. Okay, today it's Friday and we are recording the 11 o'clock class, but remember this class will repeat at 7 o'clock. The recording will be available in Unit 3 in week 11. Let's begin. We're going to talk about how we can talk about the pros and the cons in English. So how can we talk about the pros and the cons? The first thing to know is what are the synonyms of pros and what are the synonyms of cons? Obviously, pro means an advantage. The antonym, the opposite of pro is con. However, there are many other antonyms as well. So let's see them. Pros. Synonyms could be advantages, benefits, or upsides. Now we say the pros of something, the advantages of something, the upsides of something. So we use of most of the time. However, sometimes we can use to, the benefits to doing something, the upsides to doing something. So you will see this in texts. Then we have the antonyms. The antonyms are cons, disadvantages, drawbacks, downsides. Now, I have put them in this order on purpose, because we normally pair them together. I would not say, what are the pros and the drawbacks of, it sounds strange. We would say, the pros and the cons of, the advantages and the disadvantages of, the benefits and the drawbacks of, the upsides and the downsides of. I have included this because when you do the writing for the C1 Advanced, many of the questions ask you the advantages and the disadvantages. When you do the speaking, this is a common question for part 3 or part 4. What are the advantages and disadvantages of something? Maria, what do you think they want from a question like this? What are the advantages and disadvantages of, what do they want you to do?
They want to they want you to present, to talk about possible benefits against possible drawbacks.
Okay.
So you can sustain your point of view and to compare, okay, and then maybe to talk about your opinion. So in a nutshell, to say in conclusion.
Exactly, yes. So basically what they want is a balanced argument. They don't want you to only talk about one side. It needs to be balanced. The pros and the cons, the advantages and the disadvantages. So good things and bad things. They want you to give an equal argument. They want you to give a balanced argument and to talk about both sides of the argument. You can use phrases for contrast, things like however, whereas, in spite of this, alternatively, on the flip side, on the other side of the coin. Please do not use on the other hand. I am going to include a PDF in this class to give you alternatives for on the other hand. Do not use on the other hand all the time, please. It's very B2 level. So I have a question for you, Maria. We are going to discuss together. What are the advantages and disadvantages of learning English? Okay, let's discuss together.
Yeah. In this day and age, a lot of people are learning English, are studying English. Of course, there are, in my eyes, there are advantages, lots of advantages.
Yeah.
However, could be a little disadvantage, but this is not so important, or is not,
Yeah,
um,
that's it.
yeah, because the advantages are uh, far away, loads more important.
Do you remember the phrase from yesterday? The advantages outweigh the disadvantages. To
Outweigh,
weigh is to be more than.
outweigh. Okay,
Outweigh, like pesar, W-E-I-G-H.
outweigh. Yeah,
Outweigh. Yeah.
outweigh.
So the advantages outweigh the disadvantages.
And
By far, you could say, mucho. Right.
good. Um, so talking about advantages, I can refer here for the most important one, and is that it opens many doors and a lot of opportunities, and this helps you to build as a person. You know, because not only you do you do succeed in your career, or you do succeed in having a better job, but you also will be able to get into contact with people. So and it makes you happier.
Yeah, so there are lots of advantages, but on the other side of the coin, what are the disadvantages? Well, the disadvantages are that it takes away time from what you can be doing other things. For example, I know you enjoy learning English, and I think it is a good thing, but obviously learning English takes a lot of time. Maybe you could dedicate this time to something else. What's your
Yeah,
opinion?
you may be right. I know what you mean, but let me tell you that if you feel like losing your time, why to learn English? You know, because you learn English, or to start, you study English because you want it, because you need it, because you are into it, appeals to you. So I consider that people who feel that they lose their time, better to do other thing. Or yeah, you on the flip coin, it'll be like losing your time, but just when you are obliged to do it, or something compulsory and you don't feel like doing, you know. And are you on the same page?
Yeah, I'm on the same page, definitely. I think the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. However, I think some people are obsessed with English as a language, and I think maybe we should learn other languages as well. What do you think?
You're probably right. English nowadays, okay, I don't know if it's correct to say, but it for me it seems like too general, or too it's like a speedy you know, speedy if language, and maybe the other languages are a little bit fall behind fell behind, you know. They are um, and yeah, maybe they lose, the other languages lose their importance. This is what I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know. This is what I think. If I express myself,
No, no, you've expressed
on I
yourself. Yeah, you have expressed yourself. Okay, good. Now, when we talk about this, I always want you to try to, balance an advantage with a disadvantage. Now, it's normal that you think maybe there are more advantages than disadvantages, but you always need to give the other side of the view. Well, how can you do that? You can talk about other people's opinions. You can talk about general opinion. Instead of it being your opinion, you can say that. For example, I think there are more advantages than disadvantages of learning English. I believe English is the most important language in the world. However, it is said that many people are bored of learning English. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and then you're not talking about what you think, but you're giving another perspective. It's very useful to use many people think, it is thought that, it is said that, most people think that. Okay?
Yes.
Okay? So, let's see.
Okay. So I believe English it's extremely important. It's the most important or is language and is the I don't know if it's the most spoken, but it's the most important. And I personally love this language. Um, However, there are many people who don't.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah. No, and of course, your personal perspective will always have something to do with this. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. As I've said, we're looking at pros and cons. So, what should you be doing when we do this? As I've said, you can talk about the pros outweigh the cons. You're talking about the advantages and the disadvantages. But you need to give a balance. Try to use your personal opinion and an impersonal opinion. What we're actually going to do is look at a little bit of rephrasing, just to review a little bit of vocabulary before we discuss some questions. What we need to do is rephrase these sentences using 3 to 6 words, using a common synonym. So what do we have? It is not worth learning Welsh. Now, what you should do is look at the second phrase and think what is already included in the first phrase. So it is, can be quite similar to there, but it's not the same. However, learning Welsh and learning Welsh is exactly the same. You can delete learning Welsh because it's not necessary. You need to think of a synonym with it is not worth using there. Which synonym could we use?
There are no points in learning Welsh.
There are no points could be a possibility.
There are no reasons in learning Welsh.
Okay. Yeah, okay, there are no points in. Normally we use this expression in the singular. There is no point in. However, you do have a choice of preposition. There are 2 different prepositions that you can use here. But let's stay with there is no point in. We don't normally use it in the plural. Let's take a look at number 2. You need to follow the regulations. Okay, we have abide. People at home, you should put this in pause and you should write down the rephrasings to see if you have the answer correct. So you must the rules.
You must abide by the rules. You must abide by the rules.
Yeah.
You must.
Yeah, abide by would be a good one. We did see it in class.
Abide by.
Abide by is to follow the rules, follow the regulations. They're the same thing. And number 3, it is a really urgent topic of discussion. Now we need to use pressing. You cannot collocate pressing with topic. A pressing topic does not make sense. So it is
It's a, it is a pressing, it's a pressing issue. No.
Issue, yeah, it collocates with issue. A pressing issue. Now, what we need now, we are missing something with need of. This is a prepositional phrase. We need a preposition before need and then of.
In need, it is a pressing issue in need of discussion.
In need of discussion. Yes, in need of looks good to me. Now, people at home, you should write your answers. And now we are going to check them. So let's take a look at the answers. It is not worth learning Welsh. Now, we need to use the word no as it put there. Sorry, not no. I could say there is no point in learning Welsh. There is a small error here. It should not be there is not point. It says there is no point in learning Welsh. There is no point of learning Welsh. I personally disagree with this statement, but it was a phrase that just came to mind. I think Welsh is an amazing language, but it's a phrase. So there is no point in or of learning Welsh. Not, that is an error. Take away the T. Next one. You need to follow the regulations. The phrase is you must abide by the rules. Next one. It is a really urgent topic of discussion. It is a pressing issue in need of discussion. In need of. Okay?
Yes.
Good. So we have these phrases. What we're going to do is we're going to incorporate some of these phrases into some discussion questions. So let's look at the discussion questions. We have 8 questions. We are going to discuss them together. We will interview each other and we will ask an answer. So we did mention some of these things yesterday, but we need to discuss them. So tell me, Maria, do natives usually abide by grammar rules?
No. I believe the natives usually don't abide by grammar rules. It is said they do, but not always, not well, because there are many examples we can listen some kind of things in music, or maybe they are used to the language, they don't pay attention to what they say. Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think many natives do not really understand grammar rules, and they basically speak as they hear things. And of course, there are incorrect structures that you hear people say that are not technically correct, but they are used. Phrases like you and me instead of you and I.
And many others, as we saw yesterday with gonna yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is how a language will evolve, and this is how a language will change. Because languages normally evolve because of these things, because of these small uses, these small changes. Yeah. So this brings us to the next question. Do many natives have a poor understanding of their own language?
Probably. Probably they have, but this depends on their level of education, or maybe this depends on their area of they have their work, or they have their lives. uh, yeah, probably. I'm not very sure about this, but probably they are, because it's not about only one uh, natives from one people. No, people. What do I say? It's not about just English people or American people or
Yeah,
Romanian
it is
people.
not only
Yeah,
English people, it is not only native
yeah, that depends. That
speakers.
depends on their level of education and the day by day activities, or yeah. Even though many people have a very very good and excellent understanding of their own language, there are also, you can find the other side of the coin,
Yeah,
people that
definitely. There is a bit of everything. And obviously, we are generalizing here by saying these things. I don't think you can generalize too much because obviously, there are many different influences. Yeah. I don't think many native speakers think it is necessary to understand their language. They simply use the language because they learn it from a young age. And I think there are many things that we do not understand that we have been doing for a long time. So that is probably why they feel they don't need to understand it. It is common. You just use
people
like your car.
people
You drive a car every day,
yeah,
but you don't understand how a car works. I don't understand how a car works very well.
drive.
Yeah, so I think it's like that. It's just something natural. You focus on necessary information. You prioritize, of course. Let's see. Next question. Would you say it is worth learning minority languages?
Personally, I would say that it's good to learn minority languages.
It is good, or it
Just
is
in
a good
case,
idea?
yeah, it's a good idea to learn minority languages, just in case you need, or you are interested in. It couldn't be a pressing issue in need of discussion if there's no point to do it. I mean, for example, this could be helpful when you are there, when you live in a place when the majority, okay, is minority. I don't know how to express
Yeah.
that, but it's like that. Sometimes you need, because it helps you to grasp the information, or to get across to them, or to communicate, or to avoid all kind of embarrassing situations, or yeah, from this point of view, it's good idea. It's a good idea. Do you think so?
Yeah, I personally think it is. I think it's good to keep minority languages alive because they represent history. And I think we need to remember our history. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's worth remembering, and we have to show a great respect for our ancestors, or for history. But however, there are people who don't, or they consider minority languages or old languages unnecessary, even annoying. So they are in danger of extinction.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Becoming extinct is probably the best way to say this.
Okay,
Becoming
becoming
extinct.
extinct.
They are in danger of becoming extinct.
Becoming extinct. Becoming.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it is definitely the case. Um, let's take a look then at the next point I think we should look at. Have you ever given up on a language that you wanted to learn?
Yes, I have.
Oy.
Yes, I have. And I'm terrible sorry. And maybe I will never take it up again. But who knows? Never say never. Yes. I gave up studying German.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It can happen. I gave up learning German as well. I do feel bad about it. I really enjoyed learning German. I think I should have carried on really, but I didn't, and I don't know why. I should have.
Yeah, currently I have to focus on English, so to brush up on with my English since I need it. So and as I so said it, I
Yeah.
like it much. So,
Yeah.
but maybe in the future, I don't know. Okay.
Okay. Right. Next question. What are the benefits of language learning? So now, the question is only about the advantages, but we should look at both the advantages and the disadvantages.
Mm. This is in general
Yeah,
in languages.
like as learning language, not only learning English, learning any language.
Yeah, good question. Um, it's said that there are only benefits in learning languages, but there are also drawbacks. In my view, let me start with drawbacks. In my view, the the most uh, the most important or the most can I say the most outweighed
The most what, sorry?
I mean drawback, but the disadvantage. And can I
Greatest
use
disadvantage, maybe.
disadvantage, but outweigh could be used as an adjective,
No, it's a verb.
the verb.
To
Okay.
outweigh something, yeah.
Okay. So the most important disadvantage can be is correct.
Yeah,
Okay. Is that um you can people can feel that they lose their time, or people can feel a lot of pressure
yeah,
on
they
them.
waste their time, they can feel a little pressure,
Yeah,
yeah.
they waste their time. They waste their time, or they can feel a lot of pressure on them. Or they also can there are people that can hate some languages because of their popularity, or they simply don't understand this point of learning languages. But on the flip side, the advantages are far way um, uh, greater.
Yeah, they
Uh,
are. I do think they are far greater. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
yeah.
Okay, let's see then. I think basically the greatest benefits of language learning are personal. They are good for your brain. It can help your memory. It can keep you focused. And normally, when people have a purpose, they feel happier. Um, Having said that, I also think there are many cultural benefits. For example, it helps societies to share cultures, and it can create bonds between cultures. How do you see it?
Yeah, definitely. I can see it with your eye because studying languages um, it strengthens could be strengthens
Yeah,
the area of your brain that is responsible no with the memory, or so it's improving your memory, uh, so your speech, your skill of expressing yourself, so you get smarter, you get more intelligent, right? So
yeah,
and in the end you can become you can become some kind of global citizen, because as you said before, because this creates bonds, and this leads to globalization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think it does. Yeah. I think bringing cultures closer together is of everybody's benefit. It is very important, really, for everybody. And I think we need to try to do that. Bring people
Yeah.
together and make people feel closer together. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the fifth question. Sorry. Is there any point in, oh, sorry, the sixth question. Is there any point in going over grammar structures?
That depends on the stage you are when you're learning in your process. Uh, in my view, at the beginning, so as a starter, as a beginner, it's not a pressing issue need, because if someone or people generally, if they start learning or studying a language, if they pay uh, too much attention to the grammar rules, they won't be able to speak, to communicate, because they will be worried about their mistakes, not to make mistakes. Okay, so in order to avoid that, at the beginning, maybe it's better to focus on the basic grammar rules. Well, and now, what's your opinion as a teacher?
Well, I think it's important to review grammar rules if you continually, repeatedly make mistakes. For example, if I notice somebody always uses the past simple to talk about a personal experience, I think it is important for them to understand that you use the present perfect simple to talk about a personal experience when you're not mentioning the time involved, of course. And I really think it is a good way to resolve doubts or correct errors more than anything. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but this point of view refers to the process, on the way you know. But at the beginning, when you start studying, um, maybe the basic rules, grammar rules, are important to be studied. I and then the process develop. Yeah, it's worth taking into consideration these aspects, because it's vital. If you want to master a language and become fluent, it's vital to abide by the grammar rules.
Yeah, me too. I think so too. I think when you are starting to learn, it is important to learn basic structures as well, but through examples, through vocabulary, not really theory. Okay, let's take a look at the next question. Have you ever mastered a language and later forgotten it?
Wow, good question. No, I don't want to boast on, but no, I was pretty good at French, but unfortunately, I stopped studying. And what's wrong? What's more, I and it's what worse. I um, I stopped speaking,
Oh,
and this is because I didn't have the auditory, or I didn't have the interlocutor to, I there was nobody to speak French to, so, or with. So I don't know. It's not the best part of my.
yeah.
Uh,
It is a shame when that happens. It is a
it's a
shame.
shame, yes, but yes, I did it. I was pretty good at French, and I liked. I stopped.
But I have a question for you, Maya. How many languages can you speak? Or how many languages can you get by in?
3. I can, yeah, I Romanian native, okay, and Spanish and English, I can get by.
I think
Okay.
you more can get by in English. Your English is very good. There will be situations where you will have problems, but normally, I think day-to-day life, you won't have any issues at all. I think your language is very good. Is your English better than your Spanish, or would you say your Spanish is better than your English?
It's hard to balance, hard to consider. This depends. It depends on the situation. I don't know. Maybe no, not really. No,
I've never actually spoken to you in Spanish, so I don't know. Right. Let's see.
But what is to be said here? My French, yeah, I can get by in French. Okay,
Okay, you
let's
can get by. So 4, really. Yeah.
But I stopped studying, and it's a pity.
Yeah, but I think you are very humble. I imagine your French is quite good.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's see. What are the drawbacks of being monolingual?
Wow, there are lots of them. In my acceptation, the first and the most important is that you can't you can't be free. Okay, you don't have the freedom to make choices in your life, and you can miss a lot of opportunities, and this is a nonsense, because just for example, to not to be able to have a good job, or to travel, or to understand, or whatever, okay, not to be able to feel that joy of understanding some lyrics in a song, or some words in a movie, or people, foreign people on the street. I can't, in my view, I can't accept it. It's very sad.
I think so too. I think you limit yourselves. One thing
Yeah, you limit yourself.
I think being monolingual can often create bigotry. To be a bigot, have you heard this word?
I'm not
Be
sure.
a bigot, B-I-G-O-T, is an ignorant person about other cultures, but a person who criticizes other cultures.
These kind of persons could be the ones that they don't consider learning languages, as we
But not only about
aforementioned.
languages, but really they look down on other cultures. They look down on people from other countries. They besmirch. Yeah, do you remember the word to besmirch?
Yeah,
Damage
besmirch,
the reputation of. They besmirch other cultures because of the ignorance. Not all monolingual people are like this, but I think it can be a factor that contributes.
I know people like that.
Yeah, me too.
I know people.
I think everybody does, yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the final question before we go to the next part. It is, what are the downsides of being a native English speaker? So the drawbacks, the disadvantages.
Yeah, this is good. The downsides, I have never thought about this before, but now I can see it with other eyes, from other point of view. For example, being a native speaker English doesn't allow you to speak other languages.
Yeah, to
because
learn
people,
another
yeah,
language.
they don't allow you to speak, for example, the language of the country you are in, because they need to, some of them, they need to show off speaking English, or they want to practice their English, or they simply address to you in English, so you practically, your opportunities are cut.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. I found it very frustrating when I was trying to learn Spanish or German, because people would always answer me in English at the beginning. And I think you need to find the right place where you can speak only. I remember the first time I tried to learn Spanish, sorry, was in Spain. I went to Madrid, but I realized it would be very difficult to learn Spanish where I was. So the next time I went to Peru, and I went to the rainforest, like a small place in the rainforest, and I was working there, and nobody there could really speak English. Some people spoke some words, but almost zero. And because of that, I learned lots of Spanish. It was useful. Yeah.
Yeah, good opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It was interesting as well. I enjoyed it. Now, what we're going to do is look at giving a short monologue. What we're going to do in the short monologue is talk about what are the pros and the cons of being fluent in English. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of being fluent in English? We're going to give a balanced opinion. I've given a simple, well, quite a complex actually, type of monologue I can give. This is the type of thing I would say. I would introduce it by saying what I'm going to talk about. I'd say in this monologue, I'm going to talk about what are the pros and cons of being fluent in English. I'm going to give a balanced opinion on the issue, to talk about the advantages and the disadvantages. There are numerous benefits of being fluent in English. So many, in fact, I am struggling to reduce them down to just a few. It goes without saying that English is the most valued language in the world and has the highest percentage of people who speak it as a second language. So much so that many dialects have emerged as a result of this. It seems simple to state that English is important. However, we must add a little balance to the argument and say that there are some drawbacks to this obsession with the English language. I would say that many other languages are undervalued, and this may be detrimental to their spread around the world, and it also makes them difficult to learn. So as a conclusion, while learning English is important, I think it is also important to learn other languages. Not only should everyone get a good level in English, but they should also learn some minority languages to learn about cultures they are interested in. Okay? So that would be a typical type of answer. Now, I would like you to speak for about a minute, 2 if you can, Maria, on the topic of what are the pros and cons of being fluent in English. Would you be able to do it?
Okay, I try.
Yeah.
Speak.
On a win, but yeah.
Okay, I talked about this general opinion that many people want to become fluent in English or to master English. However, there are pros and cons. But in spite of being always or sometimes believe English is the most important language in the world. Okay, so however, this comes no yeah. However, this raises some interesting question. I'd like to talk about the benefits first. So there could be the benefits could be like improving your life. Definitely can improve your life, and to why not because you improve your life because you can have uh, get in contact with the people, you can travel, you can understand the others, and so on and so forth. But on the flip side, the disadvantages could be that for the other languages are under-evaluated. You can under-evaluate the other languages, or you can reduce people can reduce the importance of the other languages, and this is detrimental to them. Of course, being fluent in English sometimes doesn't let you to think about learning other languages, and this is because English could become an obsession. It could be obsessive.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and
Especially at a cultural level, like there are many countries that are obsessed with only one language. In the UK, for example, French is like the only foreign language that anybody really values, which is quite strange. But you know, it can happen. Sorry, I interrupted you. Continue, please, Maria.
So we might consider that there are pros and cons, and to bring up into discussion, for example, and to go back for the pros. One of the benefits, another benefit of learning English is that you can improve your memory, and you can simply you can take it like a challenge, you know, and do it for yourself, to prove yourself that you can do it.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But the other side of the coin, okay, you can boast yourself, or you get, or you can show off sometimes on speaking. Yeah.
I know what you mean.
So that depends on people. Yeah.
Yeah,
So in a nutshell, it's not a bad thing in being fluent in English. Yeah. But people must consider the other languages too, or must consider their behavior. Okay, when it comes to other languages or to society, I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think so too. I think you know, there are lots of languages. It's a very rich culture. There are many different things that you can learn. But I think the benefits of being fluent in English outweigh the disadvantages, the cons, because
the benefits outweigh.
Everybody wants it. Yeah. To outweigh. I like this phrase. Good, you did it very well, Maria. Very organized this time. Yeah, it was better.
I hope so, because
improvised. You did it.
I feel sometimes I struggle to do it, and I don't want to be obsessed. I don't want to be obsessed.
It's organization is difficult. We call it discourse management, and it is a difficult thing to master. Right, so what have we learned? We have looked at some C1 level phrases in English to talk about language learning. We should learn words like be worth, ing, be no point in, ing. We should learn phrases like be a pressing issue, to be an urgent topic, to follow the rules, to abide by the rules. The pros outweigh the cons. This is really C1 level vocabulary. We have also seen the word besmirch, B-I-S-M-I-R-C-H, to besmirch, meaning to damage the reputation of someone, to criticize someone, to put someone down. It's a very C1 level word we should use. We've spoken about education. We have discussed some questions, and we have also looked at giving a monologue. How can we sound more fluent in English? Well, the only way is to practice, as I've said, to listen and to speak. Make sure you are focusing also on listening skills, because this will help you. Next week, Maria, we are going to look at a listening task as part of the class, and we are going to listen to an audio, and we're going to discuss intelligence. Okay?
Yeah, that sounds interesting and attractive.
Yeah, it is. It is an interesting topic to talk about. Okay, right. If that's
I
it,
hardly wait.
yeah. Thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend, and I will see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for having me in the class.
yeah, thank you for doing the class. Okay, if you need anything, send me a message, and we are in contact. So, thank you very much. See you next
Nice
time.
weekend.